All right, welcome to another episode of the Couch Coaches podcast, where we talk about everything going on in sports. And last weekend was one of the worst Sundays in a long time. So we get to talk about that. Niners lost in Minnesota for the 900th time since 1992. And then I had to go from that to watching the Raiders win a game that they should have no business winning in Baltimore. So my Sunday was, Dallas getting killed helped. But Deacon Greg, please. Hey, you guys earned it. That fourth quarter was awesome. You guys held them close the whole game. Props to the Raiders, ruining my Sunday. But please talk about what you saw and live it up. This is a good win.
It was beautiful, beautiful. We call that a black and silver Sunday. It was just great. I mean, all the Raider fans. I'm still on cloud nine right now. You know, my whole week is going to be that way. So I'm just having a great week. You know, but the Raiders they fought hard. We talked about them last week. We said they lost to the opener to the Chiefs. And then we knew not the Chiefs, the Chargers, and we knew they had to go to Baltimore, saying that was going to be a tall order. So no way that I expected the outcome, but like we always say, that's why they play the game. And I'm going to really have to start taking my hat off to that defense, because I really think that defense is for real. You know, they held even the week one against the Chargers, they held their own against them until the fourth quarter, and this week they just hung in there. To the offense finally came around and started doing something in the fourth quarter. You know, late third quarter and fourth quarter, and made that comeback, a 10-point comeback in the fourth quarter. Gardner Minshew, he might prove me wrong. I don't know. I wasn't high on that guy, and I'm still not head over heels with him. But he might just be one of those tough guys that just hang around and can keep you in the game and come up with a win. So I am happy. I'm very happy with the defense, and I was looking at the stats. I like the tackling distribution. Most of the tackling is coming from your D line and your linebackers, and that tells you have a solid defense. The DBs ain't making all the tackles and everything, so that's a big point for your defense. So I'm really liking it. I mean, we got our home opener against the Carolina Panthers are coming to town. So they are saying that could be a trap game. So we can't take them lightly. Got the Panthers coming, and then after that, we got two home games. Then we got the Browns. So it's just 1 week at a time. I hope they don't get the big head, but right now we're the fans. I hope the players ain't riding as high as we are, but the fans are riding high right now. So we love it. That was great. And then to top it off, the Niners lost. I mean, oh my goodness. It was just a great. I didn't even see Bill at church. I don't know what happened to him, but that's a whole nother subject for another day. But just a great day. To mess with you on Sunday was good enough.
So happy I could be there. All right, Brother James, the floor is yours, man. Go for it.
All right. It's hard to go after that one, but we was looking good. Like I said, the defense is solid. I have been saying that. If y'all remember, I've been saying that. And I've been saying that. We found a little bit of offense, and they actually got my boy involved this time. And so I think that was the biggest difference when we got him involved, because it opened up a lot of other stuff. Now I was disappointed in the Niners. I mean, I'm just gonna be straight up. I'm not bragging because they lost. I was very disappointed, because with everybody who y'all have and all the things that y'all do have, there's no way that they should have jumped ahead of y'all as far as they did, and then you had to play the comeback game. It just shouldn't have happened. So it may be just like y'all, the fans, if they got the big head like the fans. I mean, just to be truthful, because it's just no way that it should have went down that way.
Yeah, but so this is what I think is even worse. I don't think we had a big head. I think we went in there going, Flores is going to blitz us like crazy. They have a tough defense. They beat us last year, and then we still did that. That's I have a bigger issue with that, because I think it's like that. I don't think they went in there going, oh, this is going to be, we got this and stuff. We got our old quarterback, and I think they went in there going, we really need to figure this out, and they didn't. That's the problem.
So
One
you
thing,
think it's coaching?
I think it's coaching.
one thing I want to say about the Raiders is they better find a running game. They do not
Oh
have.
yeah,
They do not have a running game. That troubles me. So they better find a running game.
Well, yeah, because especially because your defense is going to be. I mean, you have a great defense, but if you can't
you got to get them
come
off
off
the
the
field
field, yeah, that's going to be a
and
problem.
let them time to rest.
Which is
Y'all, I'm sorry,
crazy.
I can't get off mute. I mean, I can't go on mute because I don't know where that thing went to. So y'all gonna have to hear a little noise. My bad.
That's all right. All right, brother Bill. We kind of opened up both games. Thoughts on Niners or Raiders or both or whatever.
Yeah, I'll start with the Raiders. And I think the key for the Raiders winning that game was they
Luck.
won the game in the trenches on both sides of the ball. They were able to keep the Ravens running game in check. I mean, I expected Henry to have a good game. And it's not because of the Raiders defense. It's just because of what he brings and the way he's been used historically in his career. It isn't so much about the yards, but it's about the touches. And he gets stronger as the game goes on. What I didn't expect was for the Ravens in the second half, they just couldn't get any type of drive going. And you have to credit Max Crosby, who was playing like his hair was on fire in that game. And so, like Deacon, Greg said earlier, it was the defense, but especially the line and the linebackers that kept the Raiders in the game long enough for not the Ravens to lose it. Yes, they should have won, but the Raiders took it from them because they kept the game close the whole game. So give them props. You have to give credit where it's due, no matter who the team is, Greg. If it's the Niners, give us credit. If it's if it's the Chiefs, give credit. Doesn't matter. It's just football.
Not Chiefs. No.
Wait. Let me finish. But what will be interesting to see, and you mentioned it, is whether or not they can get a running game, because you don't want to have Gardner Minshew be the guy to have to win you games if the game gets away. So yeah, if you stay balanced and the defense does what it does, then y'all could have a winning season. We talked in the off season about where you're going to get 9 wins from. You got a big one yesterday, Sunday. See if you can kind of stack up some more. Because if you lose to Carolina, then you can just say the season is over. If you cannot beat an inept team like the Panthers, then that tells me that you're not ready for prime time. I'm going to say it right now. You have no business losing to Carolina at home. None. On to the Niners.
Carolina might be one of the worst teams ever.
They are, in terms of just
the whole organization.
Everything. Yes, you have no business losing to Carolina. So we'll see. Niners, and I said on the podcast last week, Minnesota was going to be a tough game. What I didn't expect, a blocked punt, not the fact it was blocked, but it was just a missed assignment right up the gut. So that tells me, whatever it was they were doing, preseason special teams, they need to fix that. That just can't happen. Turnovers were a wash. Once again, a handful of plays decided the game to me. Debo coming out of the end zone when he didn't have to. They only got to, I think, the 15. Then there was a penalty, so they started the 5. Brock throws the pick. There was just, the team did not play up to the standard, and Minnesota took it to them defensively. That was the difference in the game. The Niners, it isn't about talent, it's about execution. And the Niners didn't execute in that game the way they were supposed to.
I mean, Purdy had.
I hope you guys are not bit by the injury bug, because I heard that Debo is going to be out for 2 weeks.
If the key is going to be for any team, you have to win 3 out of 4 games in each quarter of the season to really have a shot at the playoffs. So the Niners, this has to be the one that they let get away. They got to win at the Rams, and that's never easy. Sure, Kupp is out. Sure, Nakua's out, but they're a divisional rival. And with no Debo, no McCaffrey, that's going to be a dogfight. And then they got New England coming at home the following week. New England has a defense. I mean, and everyone that the Niners play, they're going to get their best shot from that team. So, we'll see.
I've just. So Brock
Shanahan is going to have to do some. He's going to have to, I don't want to say get in his bag of tricks, but it's going to be, when you lose players, then you have to figure out where are you going to make up for it. You got to make up for it with your defense, you have to make some plays on both sides in all three phases of the game. And coaching, they're gonna have to do something to make sure that they can they gotta find some plays with no Debo, no McCaffrey on offense. Because 3 and out, makes for a long day, defense is gonna get worn out.
Did you guys see that stat that our separation percentage on plays is the lowest in the NFL?
You told me about that.
Like,
Yeah.
nobody's getting separation, and Ayuk's not getting separation deep. Like, so every time Purdy's throwing, so like, let's just take Sunday, for example. So they're obviously blitzing all the time. So he's having to deal with the blitz, find the receiver, and then get it into a tighter space than, like, his numbers. Like, people are like, oh, Purdy's not worth 30 million or 60, whatever they said, 50 million, 55 million. He's threading the needle on everything. So all those throws that he's getting in there are not getting in there. Like, they're going to be like, it's either his guy's going to get it or the other guy's going to get it, but he has to be like right on point. And he's actually doing well, whatever they're doing as far, I don't know if it's not drawing up the right plays. I don't know what it is. I mean, but obviously the NFC North knows how to figure out our offense. And I don't know why everybody in the NFC North can figure out our offense, and we kind of don't have much of an issue with other teams.
A good book speeder is a screenplay. How many screens did you see in that game? I didn't see not one the whole game. You got to do something. If you're going to get that kind of pressure, you got to say, okay, you can come on, and we're just going to throw a screen right behind those linebackers. I didn't see any of that the whole game.
Yeah. I would be curious to know if that stat is something new, Joe, because you guys are still, that scheme you've been had and those routes you guys have been running. That's why you guys always lead the league in RPOs, run after the catch. It's because your guys are real elusive, but they're not. I mean, they're not speed burners where they outrun somebody. They catch those, like Bill say, a screen pass or something swing pass or something like that, and then they make yardage after the catch. But I never seen a whole lot of separation with your receivers.
Yeah. So the number is, we were like 13th or 12th or something last year, and we're like literally like 31st or 32nd.
Yeah.
But we got to.
The quarterback is holding the ball too long.
But
I don't think he is. I don't think he can. Like, especially against Minnesota. I mean, he's calling hike, and they're on him.
The thing is, and this is, you always talk about it. We see on ESPN. Is it overreaction? Is there an overreaction to the Raiders beating the Ravens? Does that mean the Raiders are a contender? Is the Niners season? It's week 2. Let's just pump the brakes on both sides.
But why are you gonna say if we lose to the Panthers, it's over?
Oh, but that's different. That's the Panthers.
That's different because it's the Panthers.
It's Andy Dalton and the Panthers is different.
Get out of here. So, hey, is Dallas' season over or what, Bill?
Oh yeah.
No, not at all, because it's only week 2.
Yeah,
because Dallas lost to a good team. The Saints are going to open some eyes. You throw out the first game because that was against Carolina. A college team can beat Carolina, but what they did the way they got on top of Dallas and stayed on top of them, excuse the vernacular, that was a surprise. I just didn't see them rolling up 44 points on them at Dallas, not to that defense.
Yeah, I think so. The frustration for me as a Niners fan is when, yes, I 100% it's only week 2, but when you see the same issues that you had the year before, and there's like they have like those third downs where you need 5 yards and you don't have a 5-yard freaking pass play to get the third down. You're not going to have the 5-yard pass play to get the third down in the playoffs either, or to get into the playoffs or whatever, however the season ends up. That's what frustrates me is Kyle's a run game manager, and he's able to pick up passes because he's able to distract the defense, but he's not a good, he's not good at drawing up like pass plays. Like there's no way you shouldn't have, this is going to work every single time. Like the Eagles game, he should have caught the ball, and it would have been a first down. The game would have been over. I mean, they should have run the ball twice and really made sure that they got it. But it was like they knew that this play is going to work. We play Kansas City; they have plays that they know are going to work. We don't ever seem to have a play that we know is going to work.
The Kansas City, their left tackle holds, so that they know that's going to work.
Yes,
don't get me started on the Kansas City Chiefs, please. Oh,
yeah, they get there's a lot they get, and what makes me more irritated is like when we play the Super Bowl and like 6 months later they show all these holding penalties. It's like, it doesn't help me now. It says where they should have called that then. All right, so I want to move on. So brought up a great point, like jumping on things too early. So there's 3 teams that I've seen that are have the potential to take off. And I want to ask you guys if you think they're for real or not. And then there's 3 teams that have not good records, and I want to see if you think they're as bad as their records are. So the 3 good teams: Saints, Buccaneers, and Steelers. They're all 2-0. Are any of those teams? Do you see any of those teams as legitimately good? Let's say just playoff level teams, or do you think that they're kind of pretending? Deacon Hill, I'll start with you.
You said the Saints, the Steelers, and the Buccaneers.
Yes.
Okay. As far as the Saints, I'm gonna always start with the Saints because they got Derek Carr, and Derek Carr.
MVP.
Yeah. Okay. We've had him for 9 years, and he's a great. He can win you a lot of games. I told a lot of people that he'll get Derek Carr win you a lot of games, but is he a Super Bowl quarterback? In my book, after watching him for 9 years, no. So I think they will have a decent season. You know, we'll see how the competition starts to stack up against them and see what happens with them. But I have no confidence in Derek Carr as far as him taking you deep into the playoffs. He might get you to the playoffs. So that's as far as I see for them. But the Steelers, I don't know about their quarterback, and their running game ain't all that great either. But they still got the issue going on with the quarterback. You know, he kind of sporadic. I think he should be the starter though. What's his name? Come from the Bears.
Justin Fields.
Yeah, I think they should keep him as a starter. You know, I mean, he's younger. He got more mobility. So I think he should be the starter. But I am impressed with the Buccaneers. I am with Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. Out of those 3 teams, I would put more confidence in the Buccaneers with those 3 teams.
Okay, Brother James, are they for real or not? Saints, Buccaneers, Steelers.
Typical Raider, just gonna know if you're coming or going.
Easy, Bill. Easy. Hey, I had fun calling up some Niner fans on Sunday. I didn't want to call you because I know you get real sensitive, so I didn't want to.
Not at all. You could have called anytime you want to talk. I'll always love to hear from you, my brother.
All right, Brother Bill, I'm gonna skip to you, James.
Yep.
We'll come back.
Yeah, so of the 3 teams between the Bucks, the Saints, and the Steelers, the Saints, small sample size, only 1 game. That's the Dallas game. Again, I'm throwing the Carolina game. Don't know. If they keep running the ball the way they did against Dallas, yes, they could win that division. I looked at their schedule. They have a very good schedule. I mean, they have a favorable schedule. The Saints do. It's going to be between them and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, you go into Detroit, hold Detroit to 16 points. That is going to get some attention. But again, too early to tell. Steelers, not sold on that yet because, as you know, Deacon Greg mentioned, you just don't know about the quarterback situation. What I think all three of those teams have in common is they've shown that they have a very good defense that traveled. All 3 of those games were road games. In their defense, I mean, granted, you know, Pittsburgh held Denver to 6 points. Is Denver that good? No. But to hold Detroit to 16 and to hold the Cowboys to 17 on the road, if that defense travels, then yes. But again, it's only 2 games in.
Yeah, the Steelers to me are always they're like a mediocre team. Like their defense obviously plays really, really hard. They have 1 offensive touchdown.
Right.
Yeah, I mean they're it's the same issue they've had the last since Big Ben retired. They have no offense. So it's like you can win a couple of games and beat teams up and stuff, but unless you hold teams to under 20 points all the time, and it's just not going to happen. I like the Bucks. I think Baker's just can kind of consistently become a better and better quarterback. And they have a defensive head coach, which makes me think that in those big games, like he's going to dial up some pretty good stuff. I mean, holding Detroit, I can't tell if Detroit's trying to figure stuff out. I can't tell if they're smelling themselves a little bit from last year. Because I thought they would come out and just be whooping on teams because it's basically the same team, same coaches moving from last year to this year, and they looked fantastic at the end of the year. The Saints, again, really, really strong defense. So to me, if you got a really strong defense, like it can make up for offense. And Kamara's if he stays healthy, I mean, it's just, I think it kind of hinges on that. If he's healthy, cool. If he's not healthy, it's not going to work. All right, brother James, hold on a second. I want to get Brother James in here. All right, man, you good to go?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna start with the Saints too. Uh, Carr, no one has ever said Carr was a bad quarterback. Uh, he just, I have I see two different Carrs. There was a Carr post pre injury, and then there was Carr after injury, and he was two different quarterbacks at that time. Now, him going to the Saints may have helped him with something. They may, different scheme, this and that. But I don't say them being the real deal, because for one, just like you just said about the injuries, that their running back is hurt every year. Every year. So we're just waiting on the time for him to get hurt. Carr, he's going to be inconsistent further down the line. He always starts out hot. Going to Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield's always been a good quarterback. Baker Mayfield's always been a good quarterback, and there is nothing no one can say about him in that aspect. I think he fits very well with Tampa Bay's offensive style, and that's why it looks so good. He looks so good over there. If I was to put money on any other team being the real deal, it would be Tampa. Pittsburgh, they still trying to figure it out.
On offense, yeah, defense they're down there. JJ Watt's an animal.
Well, they always had a good, they're a defensive team. They've been always known as a defensive team. Them and Baltimore.
Yeah.
But they still trying to figure out an offense, and I think that's what's going to hold them back this year. So 2-0, yeah, we should be 2-0, but we ain't. So.
Why should you be 2-0?
We shouldn't have lost. We shouldn't have lost last game against who was it? The Chargers.
Yeah,
you should have beat the Chargers.
Yeah, we should have beat the Chargers.
We should be 2-0 because we're the Raiders. That's all you got to say. You ain't got to even.
No, I mean, Bill is gonna always hate. Like just earlier.
No. I'm just.
If his team,
I gave
if
you all
his team
credit
was 2-0, he'd be like, oh, wow. Please, Bill, just put it on mute.
Okay.
All right. So I'm gonna flip it now and give you like three teams that are doing bad. James, I'm gonna stick with you because you're off mute now. So teams with bad records: Ravens, Bengals, Jaguars. Do you see any of those teams of being actually good teams just with a bad start to the season?
Yeah, I think Baltimore is having a bad start. I think those guys are all trying to figure each other out. They should have worked some more together on the off season, even outside of practice. Because when you add a running back like Henry, who only gets better throughout the game, like fine wine, there's no way that you shouldn't be grounded and pounded. But it's just something that they're gonna figure out. And I do believe with the coaching that they have and the athletes that they have, they're going to figure that out, and they're going to figure it out really quick. I wouldn't be surprised if they win, if these two losses may be their only one. I don't know, but, and you said who else? Cincinnati?
Bengals. Yeah, the Bengals and the Jaguars.
Jaguars, I really hadn't really paid any attention to them because they've never really been on my radar. They've always been one of those bottom teams anyway. I mean, that's just in their pedigree. Cincinnati is they have the ability to do a lot. I mean, because you look how high they was last year, out of nowhere. Was it a Cinderella thing? I hope not, because I really thought that they had some answers to a lot of their own questions that they had from years prior, but they're gonna have to figure it out. I hadn't saw any of their games yet, but we're gonna have to figure it out. They got to use the talent and spread it out. So,
all right, brother Bill, Ravens, Bengals, Jaguars, all three are 0-2. Which ones do you expect to kind of flip the script, and do you expect any ones to just not be very good this year?
I expect the Ravens to figure it out because of coaching and their defense. I think that's the key. I mean, the running game again is working. I mean, how they use Henry remains to be seen, but they do not have an easy schedule. Look at their schedule. They got some tough games. And so, you want to say the Raiders was the one they let get away. They got some tough games coming up. Same thing with Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals were one play away from beating the Chiefs at Kansas City. That pass interference at the end of the game. Up until that, they played the Chiefs tough. The Jaguars, I don't just see it because the Houston Texans are going to win that division barring injury. They're just a better team. I haven't seen anything the last 2 years to say otherwise. So, not having T. Higgins really hurt the Bengals too in that game. So they definitely need him back because they need someone to take some of the double coverage off of Jamar Chase.
Deacon Hill, Ravens, Bengals, Jaguars.
Well, out of those three teams, the one I think that I really would think that would recover would be the Bengals, because the Bengals always have a tendency to start it slow and they kind of right their ship. And I watched that game, that Chiefs game. They got robbed, man. There was one play where the left tackle holds a lot. I think he might be a rookie, and they got him like, they got the prize left tackle, but that guy holds a lot. And one play they called a roughing the passer. And he had the defensive end necktie. So at worst case scenario, it should have been offsetting penalties. But no, they give them a 15-yard first down, and you can see those type of plays down the field. And like you said, that last play, it was pass interference, but that was a desperation shot that they had to take to win the game. So I think the Bengals are close. Like you say, the Higgins is out, and when they get him back, I think the Bengals will be all right. Trevor Lawrence is all I can see for the Jaguars. He's a warrior. He tries to do a lot, but he can't carry that team. So I don't see them making any kind of noise. And then the Ravens, man, I don't know. Chemistry is a lot. Just because you bring in another running back, a big back, and then you got to, Henry is Henry, but has he lost anything? We always want to look back to what he was the year before or whatever throughout his career. We don't know, and we don't know how that's going to, translate over to the Ravens. So I'm not, they got to figure it out. If I was the Ravens, I would let Lamar run the ball a lot more. Let him be, I like Jalen Hurts, like they was using Hurts in that game. Them guys, that's what they do. That's what makes them the dual threat that they are. Is you got, you got to turn him loose. That's what makes them dynamic. Not trying to make, and you can't depend on Henry to just feed Henry the ball. You get those. That's a dual threat. Those two guys got to carry the load, and then let him beat you when he can with his arm. That's the only way I can see them turn their season around. If they want to try to ride Henry, I don't think they're going to ride him too far.
Yeah, but the problem with using Lamar, having scheming running plays for him is you don't want him to be another RG3, where he's got the talent, got the ability. But all it takes is one nasty hit, and then you got your quarterback on the sideline for weeks.
You know what though? But there's a difference. There's just like with Marcus Allen and Franco Harris. Some guys know how to take hits, Bill. They don't take direct hits. Lamar hardly ever takes a direct hit. RG3, he's trying to run right into a linebacker, just like Tua did the other day when he had a first down. He could have slid for the first down. He's going head on with a DB. There's some guys that know how to play the game and know how to take what the defense give you and get down. That's how you play the game at that position. So if he plays and Lamar does it, and it's almost like a natural instinct. You watch him do the spin moves and the moves he make. You got to turn that guy loose.
Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand the strategy of having somebody, because it's like you're the thing that makes Lamar Jackson great and that offense just be like almost unbeatable is the fear of him running the ball. And if he's not running the ball, then they're covering your wide receivers differently. They're covering your tight end differently. They're covering the line differently. And granted, to think that he would be as accurate as he is now with what he looked like coming out of Louisville, the dude is, he's like night and day as far as passing. But it's like taking a curveball from a pitcher. It's like, okay, we're only going to throw fastball. It's like, well, if you don't have the curveball, then the fastball is not going to be as effective because you know what's coming. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they started doing in the AFC Championship game. I don't know what they're doing so far. I don't know if it is trying to preserve him and keep him healthy, but it seems like that's why they've been so effective. That's why that we couldn't even touch them when we had to play them last year is because Lamar, you're going, okay, what's Lamar doing? Freezes up the linebackers, freezes up the secondary, and then they just dink and duck down the field. It just I getting back to the actual question, I see all three of these teams figuring it out and getting better. I don't think the Jaguars are going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to dig themselves too much of a hole. And I think when you have a team like the AFC, I mean, the AFC North. They got three teams that could be in the going to the playoffs. I mean, I think the Bengals traditionally have a slow start. If Burrow stays healthy, I think they'll be fine. I don't know how good they are. They always seem to play Kansas City better than anybody. So they're our best shot of not playing Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
Not better than anybody. The Raiders beat them, so no, not better than anybody.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I
A
got nothing.
broken clock is right twice a day. Just don't break your arm and pat yourself on the back.
I wish I had some. That was the worst thing about this weekend is I couldn't even run my mouth to Eagles fans. I couldn't run my mouth to anybody because we lost two.
Right.
God, there were so many Cowboys fans. It was just like, oh my, they got killed. And I'm like, what am I gonna say? We lost. I can't say anything. They took that from me. They took my trash talking from me by losing.
That was good. That was good. Thank you, Jesus.
Ugh. Anyway, so to the Jaguars. So I see Trevor Lawrence. He's like Peyton Manning was in his first year, but he's not getting better than like Peyton Manning did after his first year. It's weird. Like seems to have the same kind of mentality, just like gunslinger, flinging the ball. Doesn't seem to get caught up in his interceptions, but then he makes some really bad decisions, and he hasn't seemed to like Peterson hasn't seemed to have gotten him out of that. Like, I don't know if it's an immaturity or what it is, but he totally reminded me of Peyton Manning. And I keep going, oh yeah, Peyton figured it out, and then Peyton, became Peyton. Trevor just kind of seems doing the same thing over and over again. So we only have a couple minutes left, like literally 2 minutes left. So if there's anything that any of you guys have seen, there's a huge game this weekend, Michigan USC.
USC in the big house going to Michigan.
That would be if Michigan gets blown out two home games in a row, there's going to be a lot of very unhappy.
Didn't they win it last year?
Yeah, they did.
Michigan,
Okay.
yeah, they're on the table. Yeah.
I was just wondering. I was just checking.
They had Harbaugh
Thank you.
though. They had Jim Harbaugh as their coach though. He's not there
Yeah.
anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, but really, I would say this: if FC actually wins this game, I'm gonna really start taking them serious. They're looking good, but if they go to Michigan and win that game, I'm really gonna take them serious.
Yeah, for sure, and with their schedule, they're going to be highly rated. If they keep winning, they're going to be highly rated because they're playing like the Pac-12 and the Big Ten together. Is like that's a crazy division. All right,
University of Texas.
Yeah, Texas looks real good.
They
right
look
now.
really good.
So hopefully they're like Dallas and they'll get to a big game and then. All right, so we got big games. Both of our teams have very winnable games this weekend. So hopefully everybody's happy, and if just one of us has to be happy, hopefully it's me and Bill. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Wins. Let's go USC. I hope Texas loses.
Let's go Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders!
You better win.